let's think about this, right? What is the main thing we ain't got enough of in this country?
Hospitals.
No.
Libraries.
Behave. We ain't got enough fit women. And we've got too many mingers. No offense, Karen. So, why don't we just let in all the fit refugees and turn away all the rank ones? That way we solve both problems. We is knobbing two birds with one Connie, innit?
This is ludicrous.
What do you think? I think we should keep it real.
Hello, listening people.
Hello.
Hello, Bartek. How are you doing?
Wicked. And I is here with my main man, Ryan Lewinsky.
I knew one of us was going to have to do it. And I was flipping of the coin of if I should introduce this as a Borat way, because he does count. He was in the film.
Mm-hmm.
He was in this feature-length film that was released in cinemas, something that would never happen today with this movie. Maybe. I don't know. Borat 2, was that cinematic release, or was that straight to video?
I think that was straight to Amazon.
Yeah, it was pandemic times too, right?
It was secretly made.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. But we are spit and polish likingly because we're always spitting, and we both happen to be of some sort of Polish descent.
Some country near Boratland.
Near Boratland, Kazakhstan, yeah, Boratland. No, we are spit and polish likingly because we're always spitting. We're both Polish, and we're here today to talk about a movie that has come recommended because we have our show Pictures Powwow, where we sit down and have a little bit of a powwow about a certain picture. And what film are we talking about, Bartek, and who recommended it?
Well, Ryan, there's one of three people/entities that could have recommended it.
Mm-hmm.
It's all based on what week it is. 1 week, it's a me recommendation.
Yes.
Another week, it's a you recommendation. That you, Ryan Lewinsky.
That's me.
Or Lewinsky, whatever Ali Bartek said before.
Sure.
And then the third, that's the entity part, is the listening people, the everyone else in the world except us.
Yeah.
And so if it's that last one, then, it would be one of them recommended it. And that is the case for this episode.
Mm.
We have been recommended the 2002 film Ali G Indahouse.
Yeah, you sounded scared at the end. Is he in Da House, this one right now? Is he in the room with us now?
I was breathing in and I got excited.
You got a little
I sounded
excited.
nervous.
Yeah, it's Ali G.
Ali G Indahouse.
House.
From 2002, a year very close to our hearts because early on in what?
No, yeah, keep going. It's very close to our hearts.
Are you laughing at 2002?
Yeah.
Why would you laugh at 2002? It's close to our hearts.
It's close to our hearts.
Why do you keep laughing when I say 2002 is close to our hearts?
Because why is it close to our hearts?
Because when we started the podcast, we just kept getting 2002 films.
Such as?
Big Fat Liar, Thunderpants, and others.
No, that was the end of that. Was it just those two movies?
I think, wasn't it a thing where the first chunk of episodes there were only things from 2004 to 2005 or something?
Oh yeah, there was. We had a certain era. We called it a certain name as well.
The Muniz era.
The Muniz era.
And this film is from the Muniz era.
Yes, I just got a case of the giggles because I just find it very cute to say that 2002 is very close to our hearts as we are well beyond 20 years from it. So I'm
23.
But
we turned 9.
Something that is very close to our hearts is the work of Sacha Baron Cohen, who is the culprit behind the film that we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
And we were recommended this from one of our good listening people, our dear friend, patron of the podcast, our doctor of the podcast, or
our doctorate
of the podcast. Dre Eshies, Dreshies, Dr. Resheshies. I like that we never pick one. We always got to give 15.
I always say Dr. Rashes.
You do, but because he's using a YouTube handle, it is all one word, and I'm like, is he a doctor? And we asked, and he said, I have a doctorate, so...
Oh, sorry, yes, doctorate, not doctorate.
Maybe you said doctorate. You know what?
No, I said doctorate, but he said doctorate, I'm pretty sure.
But he recommended this film, Ali G Indahouse.
Yes.
And people, if you have not watched this before, don't you worry. The plot is ever so familiar. It's very familiar, but that's kind of the point because it's giving you the Freddy Got Fingered approach to filmmaking, which is follow the traditional boilerplate comedy film, goodwill film structure and have an insane character at the center of it getting up to hijinks. Ali G, yes, that Ali G, the character that helped make Sacha Baron Cohen's career, helped launch it off, he finds himself in the world of politics. That's right. What if he interacted with the British Prime Minister? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Mhm.
Would it be crazy if Ali G interacted with one of the world's most powerful figures? Wouldn't that be absolutely insane? That would be very crazy.
All to save the rec center.
All to save the rec center and make sure the kids find a way of getting off the streets, because this is a Hollywood movie as well, by the way. My favorite. I can't wait to listen to the VJ Emmy version of this film.
No, Hollywood is an Ali G type industry.
He wishes. But the story is simple, but the gags are oh, there's so many of them. And there's a lot of oh, it's that person. Oh, it's that actor. Oh, it's that actress. Oh, it's this celebrity cameo. Oh, it's this person. Interesting. But the thing that everyone needs to take away from this before we properly get into the film and we get into the spoilers and we give our history is this is not what you expect perhaps nowadays from an idea of a movie based on one of Sacha Baron Cohen's characters, because this is a normal traditional narrative film. This isn't him doing a mockument, like interviewing people. This isn't
a scripted story.
It's a scripted story with characters. It doesn't do any of the stuff that the Ali G character did in his own show. The thing that you would actually come to this movie for. If you said there's an Ali G movie, it doesn't do that. It just has the character interacting with one of the most basic storylines you've ever seen, but doing it in his way. But I just thought it would be good to raise that because I think nowadays, when you think of a Sacha Baron Cohen film, like one where he's front and center, that style, the Borat Bruno style, is what most people think
the
is
mockumentary style.
Yeah, and even though that's not true, I mean, when you think about it, he's had equal amounts of films being like Ali G Indahouse as he has the style of Borat, because he has The Dictator and he also has the Brothers Grimsby or just Grimsby, where those are just traditional narrative-driven films. They're not mockumentaries or filming people without them knowing. It's not hidden camera stuff or any of that.
A lot of the press and promotional stuff before the films like actually released were more leading themselves to the idea that they would be a bit more like Bruno and Borat, where a lot of
especially The Dictator, less so Grimsby.
That's true, yeah. Dictator, it was seeming like whoa, it's the next film of the Borat and Bruno style. And he's being interviewed by people and improvising and everything,
dropping Kim Jong-il's ashes on people and all of that crazy nonsense. But that's a film for another time. Maybe we'll talk about it during this discussion. But everyone, make sure to watch Ali G Indahouse because both of us have seen this movie before, but I don't know exactly if we've detailed our histories and relationships with Sacha Baron Cohen. This is the first time we've ever had him on the podcast. He's never starred in anything that we've done.
No.
So far.
We've only seen his now ex-wife.
Isla Fisher. We've seen her, yeah. And I guess, that is true. We've seen her more than we've seen him. And now we've met up. It's like, great. Now we need to have another Sacha Baron Cohen film to make it equal, because we've had two of her and only one of him. But Sacha Baron Cohen is a figure that was notorious when we were both growing up. Borat came out. I had already watched Ali G Indahouse and the Ali G show before Borat the movie came out. It was just one of those things my parents would tape late at night, and then we'll watch it in bits and pieces. And I remember seeing Ali G Indahouse at some point. Maybe my parents got it on video or something along those lines. It was in my household. These things were in the same ballpark as like Fat Pizza or the Chaser, who are a comedic group here in Australia that do similar-esque type of escapades in the public, where they just pretend to be these absurd characters, or they have these hysterical interviews with celebrities where they throw them off. All of these are in the same ballpark for me. I put Fat Pizza there because it's just like...
It's a satirical show.
And the Fat Pizza movie is very much in the same ballpark for me as Ali G Indahouse. Like, I would put them back to back on a movie night, and I think they would go down pretty well.
I think so too, yeah.
Because there's a level of, like, and I don't say this necessarily as a negative criticism, but it is a criticism of this film does not deliver to you what you want of the premise of, like, Ali G gets his own movie. He doesn't do the thing that you want him to do. He doesn't even interview anyone in this movie, really. He just is and the Fat Pizza movie, it's kind of, it turns into something else. Like, the Fat Pizza movie is a bit different to what Fat Pizza the show was, and then Fat Pizza the show after the Fat Pizza movie is forever different. I've had this debate with you over the years, but I'm like, I think the movie set a tone for Paulie and the gang that they just never got away from, and I don't know if I like that. But that's a discussion for the Fat Pizza movie episode one of these days.
Yes, we'll get the contrarians on to help us.
Yes. Oh my god. They love Rebel Wilson, who's worked with Sacha Baron Cohen.
Oh, well, I think that's the first time she appeared in the franchise, so... Started
her career.
Yeah, talk about a start.
Talk about a star. Talk about a start. But what about you? What's your history with Ali G Indahouse, and why did you not recommend this? It feels like such a you pick.
Well, I mean, to answer the second question, Dr. Rashes beat us to it. I think literally... Whenever Dr. Rashes makes a comment and you see it first, you tell me, like, oh, the Dr. Rashes has, made a comment. Check it out and reply to it or something like that. And when I saw that he recommended Ali G Indahouse, I think my immediate response to you was like, he beat us to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's the reason why. In terms of my history with Ali G Indahouse, I'd have to talk about the history with Sacha Baron Cohen, where I didn't know him at all until 2006 when Borat was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The trailer came out for Borat. It looked like a really fun film. Everyone was talking about it. So obviously I wanted to go see it. Eventually I did, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it in Poland too with my dad. So all of the scenes, or all of the bits where he wasn't talking English and it was subtitled, I couldn't even read those bits.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still to this day the hardest I've ever laughed in a cinema itself. I remember I literally was banging on the wall. I think I fell out of my seat at one point.
Nice.
So I haven't laughed harder in a cinema since then. And then just looking up stuff about Borat and how, this, is a character that originated in a TV show and he played other characters, I'd slowly learn a bit more about them. And Ali G was the one from the show that popped up the most because I think he might have had the most to do on the show.
Yeah.
I only remember like 2 or 3 Bruno bits, really, but I remember them being pretty good. But it was always a thing of, I'm from an Eastern European family. Borat plays on a lot of Eastern European stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I gravitated towards that a bit more. It took me like a long time to watch more and more and start to really appreciate Ali G a bit more. And I can't remember if I saw Ali G Indahouse before or after Bruno, but definitely the first time I went to watch Ali G Indahouse, I walked in with the expectation that it was going to be a bit more like Borat in the sense of, being a mockumentary, having a lot of like real world interactions. And so the first viewing, and I think literally everyone I've ever talked to about this film talks about the fact that, it wasn't like Borat.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like the Ali G show where there was the interviews. So the first time through, it was kind of a sore point, but then upon re-watches, I actually got to appreciate it for what it was. And that's always the thing I bring up when people talk about Ali G Indahouse. Like, yeah, it's not what I would have wanted, but I at least get some laughs out of it.
There's so many films that are great points of comparison. Something I think of is UHF.
Mhm.
Because if you aren't familiar, people, UHF is Weird Al's movie where they have their TV station that they're running and they're doing all of their crazy channels on there. But that doesn't necessarily give you what you would expect of the Weird Al movie. Like, there's songs in it. There is songs in it, but, it's not... But it also very much is. And that's where I kind of land nowadays with Ali G Indahouse, because it has been a sore point for me.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just a missed opportunity that eventually Borat picked up on. But because I liked Ali G as a character, I thought he was very fun. I thought he was very well realized. I thought it was Sasha's best acting out of the three characters. It was the most like stupid character. Like the character is dumb. But I was a bit disappointed when I watched this movie, and I've never been a huge lover of it. I don't know what it is. It's like outside of just it didn't give me what I wanted. I think just a lot of the humor for me is just I throw my hands up in the air and say you could do this exact same gag without it being like this exact same script without it being Ali G, and nothing would really change for me. Like, why is this character specifically? You could change so much of it without it really making a difference, and that's where I think the rub has come in for me, because all three, like all of Sacha Baron Cohen's characters, are really unique or very specific, or as you mentioned, like with say Borat, there's like a touchstone there of like, I connect with this. And even today when I was watching the film, I was just like imagining like, if we just replaced Ali G and you made it just a Benny Hill type character, not much of it would change. Like, what's the appeal? Like, are the jokes themselves good on their own, or are they just stock standard for what at this point was very well trodden ground of shock humor movies? Like, we already had, your Farrelly brothers, and I also I kept saying to my wife today, I'm just like, she asked me what it was like rewatching it, and I was just like, it's so weird because there was many points when I watched it and just said, unironically, Freddy Got Fingered did this better. Freddy Got Fingered did this better. Of it takes the structure and the beats of all of these fucking bullshit films where you get these outrageous comedians and then you put them in a 3-act structure movie where we save the rec center, or I get my dad's approval, or your Adam Sandler type movies. You take that structure, you take those type of characters, take those type of beats, and you ramp them up with absurdism and anarchy and in just insane humor. And I find that this film just doesn't get there enough. Like, it does at times, but it also feels like it's that bullshit thing of, well, since we lampshaded that we're doing it, we can just do the thing. And you can't say that we're doing it sincerely because, well, we pointed at it and said that is the thing that we're doing. And it's like, that's where I'm like, I want you to tear this apart more.
It's funny. An element that I didn't remember about this film, but obviously noticed watching this one, is there's 3 or 4 moments where you get a cut-in of Ali G talking to you, the audience, directly, implying like, this is a film that I've created, which is my vision. Kind of like how the framing device of Pootie Tang was, this is the film that I made, so there's going to be this, veneer behind the writing of it, like, this story that we're watching is from this character's mind. There's this implication for this film that that's the case with Ali G. And you do get that a little bit, especially with all of the gangster characters, who all have this sort of similar value system and way of talking. But then you have the whole element of Ali G being a fish out of water to the rest of the world.
The British government.
Where, like, the British Parliament stuff is all played relatively straight, and that works for the comedy, but also it doesn't really work in the sense of, like, this was from the mind of Ali G.
Did the mind of Ali G think that Michael Gambon would be a great acting partner. Like, these are the things. But then there's also the part of it is like the studio wants me to have a girlfriend that is plain enough for you to feel sympathy for me. Like, that's funny. Doesn't excuse the fact she's not a good character and doesn't do anything in the movie and is never funny. Doesn't excuse that, Sasha. Just because you have the character look at the camera and say, hey, we on purposely made this character like non-existent, it doesn't help anything. Even the girlfriend in fucking Freddy Got Fingered was funny. She was a freak.
She was very funny.
She was very funny. I just want to suck your cock.
Yeah.
But
you met last episode. You brought up a lot with John C. Reilly. He did a video where he was breaking down his iconic characters. I saw that about half a year ago. Sacha Baron Cohen had one of those, and I checked out the section where he was talking about Ali G, and it was kind of funny, but also kind of telling that all of the stuff he talked about in the creation of the character didn't really apply to this movie, because the creation of the character was based around what he does in the show, which is, what if we take the dumbest guy in the world and put him next to all of these people who are experts in their field and, you know, see how they respond to him and, you know, how I, Sacha Baron Cohen, improvise my way around continuing the facade that I am a real person. And then you have this film where
it's scripted.
It's scripted. It's all story. So in a way, it's almost like the character, the character's real life of the character from the Ali G show, who makes all of these references to things that are in this film. Like in Ali G show, he does talk about Me Julie sometimes. He talks about his mate Ricky C, the East Stain Massives. Oh, sorry, he's West, isn't he?
Yeah.
The West Stains Massive. And in this film, it's like, oh, you're seeing all of that stuff that he was referring to. And
that's a classic pitfall.
Yeah.
Or trouble that you see with these type of characters, and then they are they have to translate to a film of, well, we actually didn't need to see these things. It was actually better just to imagine those things. These are the characters behind the scenes life that we don't get afforded to in their show or their stand up or this and this and this. This isn't the worst offender by any means. There's so many of these movies, whether they're American, British, Australian, or elsewhere, where a comedy character and or ensemble or show or whatever is doing really well, and so we have to give it the movie version, and it just is lost in translation. Something doesn't go right. This isn't the worst offender of it, but I think it is an interesting cultural artifact of, one, Ali G is even funnier now with age as we've gotten further and further away from the type of person Sacha Baron Cohen is embodying. Like, that specific type of British hood doesn't exist in the way that it does now. Like, it's different. So it's actually funnier for me. It's funnier to see Ali G as a character. And you see that Sasha doesn't bring him out as much as the others because of that reason. Like, he's incredibly dated. There's nothing dated about Borat because he himself is like out of time. Like, he feels like he's from the Soviet era anyway.
And he's trying to be what clueless people think, you know, Kazakhstan is like, to the point that the real life Kazakhstan people hate Borat because that's what people ended up thinking they were like.
And Bruno's out of touch fashionista, so there's like, it's already out of touch anyway. There's something that, to me, what I like about Ali G back in the day that maybe doesn't hold up as much now, although there's still this charm of like, yeah, he's a stupid person interviewing the elite and powerful, but there's also some catharsis in seeing someone like you, perhaps, or someone that is representative of the lower class or the blue-collar class, being able to sit down with Donald Trump and freak him out enough to make him leave the room. Like, that's entertaining. That's fun. There's something fun to that, like on an authentic level. It's not just, I laugh at Ali G. There's a part of I laugh with Ali G because I'm like, oh man, he's doing stuff, he's saying stuff that's obviously rude and crude and absurd. And that's just not in this movie. That aspect just can't be in this movie. Like, it just can't be here. But...
It's funny because that's what the plot kind of is about, where it's like, oh, we need to get someone who people can relate to.
Yes.
To become the member of parliament.
But the character's so, like, one note and gross and despicable that any moment of, like, heroicism or authenticity feels like a joke. Like, it feels like a joke because it's accidental, or he's doing it to gain something else for himself, like it's insincere, or just it's a lead-in for some crude, absurd joke. But that's fine. But overall, mixed opinions revisiting it. Like, there's some bits that work for me, some bits that don't. There was just lots of long segments where it's just like, cut. Oh, we're just gonna keep this physical gag going for ages, and it wasn't funny the first time I saw it, and it's still... I'm specifically thinking of when he's at, like, the big gala event, and they've got all of the diplomats there, and he's hitting on what was her name? The posh woman that works with the deputy prime minister, the one.
Yeah.
And he has, like, the charcuterie board, and he grabs out the thing and he just starts, like, licking it like it's a pussy, and it goes on for like 4 years. And I was like, it wasn't very funny the first 2 seconds you did it. The longer I know you tried to do a thing where it keeps going.
On the DVD, when you select subtitles, you watch that segment before you get to choose your subtitles.
Oh. They really thought it was good, huh?
The DVD people did.
They really thought that one was a winner.
Yeah, I have similar feelings upon this rewatch as well. When you have Ali G with the politicians, all of that stuff I really liked, but that's really kind of the second act. First act, it kind of feels like, what we were talking about before. It's like, oh, we're just doing comedy stuff. We're not really doing what Ali G is most well known for. But it was also an interesting thing thinking about, Dr. Rajesh recommended this. Now that we have seen Don't Be a Menace in South Central While Drinking Your Juice in the Hood, this film kind of reminded me of that a little bit more, where it was kind of like a hit and miss experience where, like, oh, yep, this gag worked, this one didn't. And it was, just like a balancing act of, like, how many didn't hit, how many did hit, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a great one to bring up, because I forgot about that being a previous recommendation from the same person. I think it's interesting too, because that one's a more overt, direct spoof of a thing. Like, the title itself is referencing all of the things it's going after. While
it was Wayne's Brothers, right?
Yeah, of course. While this film, it's just going for that general vibe of, like, you've seen the movie where they save the rec center, right? But it doesn't have that sharp focus on making fun of that. Like, that's initially kind of a part of it, and then it kind of goes away. I was thinking of something like Black Dynamite, or Freddy Got Fingered, or even the Austin Powers movies, where it's like, we can have all of these absurd gags and these set pieces, but it's still, you never lose track on, like, what they are making fun of or what the target is. And in this movie, it's just kind of like, we're making fun of, like, save the rec center, and, like, losing yourself along the way in the climb for power and all of that. Like, when Ali G's about to lick pussy and he sees his own slogan back at him and he feels something and then he runs off. It's like, I can list those things, but then there's all just large segments where it's just like, whatever. It's like, oh yeah, that's going to come up again, I guess, perhaps.
Yeah, I've never really thought of this movie as being like a parody or a spoof of its, type of story. I just saw it as being just the structural thing that lets the story, progress.
Yeah. But is that good or bad? Like, is it good that it is just taking the blank check that is that type of movie and just doing it, and then they're just like, how do we make it Ali G? Because that's how it feels if it is that way. Like it's basically like, we got one of these scripts, now Ali G it up.
Yeah, if the film was like 90% hits, obviously that would be fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I just wish it had more of these, like, more crudeness, more absurdity, more. Like, it has stuff, but then it's just, I'll best sum it up like this. Martin Freeman's in the movie, everyone.
And he's perfect.
Bilbo Baggins, a man who looks like he's always been 45 years old. He looks at here, he looks it now. He looks like he's always been middle-aged. He's very British. But he's in the movie, and then he's gone from the movie, and then when he turns back up again, I audibly went, oh yeah, because I completely, like, all of that stuff, all of Ali G's background and his like, remember this movie started out with him having a family? Like, Ali G had, like, his
nan?
Who never shows up again, right?
Oh, no,
Did we see her again?
She's watching TV with some of the others at one point.
I'm sorry. She turns up again in a really big way. She's watching the Bill and Ted performance from the second film on TV. I joke, of course, but, like, yeah, that's just, to me, that's an example of, like, how this movie works. Of, like, oh yeah, that's a thing. We just haven't kept the plate spinning for some things. So when they come back again, you're like, oh, right. Oh yeah, Martin Freeman. Yeah, I haven't thought about you in a while.
Yeah, I guess part of the film's plot, according to the film, is, that he has been embroiled in the world of being an MP and, he's forgotten his roots or something like that. But it's really just something that you're kind of told at one point, because he does still seem to be focused on his main goal of saving the rec center. And
he himself doesn't change. Like, his attitude, the way he talks, the way he behaves, none of that changes. In fact, the fact that he isn't changing and that's, like, he succeeds. But then the film tries to play on, like, you've lost touch with what you were about. It's like, when? When did he not keep it real?
Yeah, there was no point where someone mentioned the rec center and he was like, what's that? Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
There's no moment where Pootie Tang sells out and they have the fake Pootie Tang played by David Cross.
I was thinking about David Cross on the way here, to be honest.
Oh, man. I wish he was here.
I walked into this episode planning to do the, introduction thing. I'm here with my main man. I was just thinking of David Cross in Pootie Tang.
Oh, Pootie Tang.
Did you like Martin Freeman as Ricky C?
I love that we have on film Martin Freeman saying the N-word a bunch. I appreciate that. He was good. Like, he was good. I can't remember the other character's name, the one who eventually speaks and has a high-pitched voice. He's been
Dave, I think?
Yeah, he's been in a million things, that actor. I'm like, oh, it's that guy. I've seen him be in a million different things. They're fine. They're good. I'll be real with you. There's no character outside of Ali G himself that I like or care about that much. Like, none of them I find particularly funny. I mean, I guess to me, Michael Gambon's straight man performance as the Prime Minister and how he slowly likes Ali G is, like, the best part of the movie because it's genuinely endearing, and Michael Gambon was such a professional actor. And he's got a good sense of humor in this. I think he's probably the only character outside of Ali G that I was genuinely interested in or liked and or found funny. Everyone else is like, they are there. They help bounce things off of Sacha Baron Cohen saying absurd dialogue in his silly voice. What about you?
I actually quite liked Martin Freeman in this film. In terms of the whole element of, like, we're seeing the world of Ali G where everyone's kind of got the same value sense as him, he felt like he was, like, going at it the hardest. And it was interesting seeing, like, him playing a similar sort of character to Ali G, but not putting on, like, the, sort of, like, Jamaican effect on. Yeah, just seeing him, spout off lines, like, really, really coherently and really quickly was really fun. And I had a big laugh when they saw, like, the police were coming and he said, oh, it's the LAPD. Just really highlighting that sense of, like, they're not in their real world. They think it's the Los Angeles police, but they're in London.
But they're like children nonetheless.
Yeah.
When Ali flips off the police, but he's hiding his fingers behind the car door because he's a pussy. And then Martin Freeman be like, oh, ho, ho, or when they're recording their plea to all the other gangs and Martin Freeman, Ricky C just can't help but be like, ho, 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 when offered the chance to look at the breasts of Ali G's girl, and just all of that. I do like a lot of these actors. Like, that's where I kept coming back to. I'm like, oh, I like this actor. I just didn't find them particularly. Like, I love Charles Dance. I think Charles Dance is a hilarious actor and a great like dramatic actor, and he's the villain. He's the evil deputy prime minister. He's fine. He's fine in the movie. He's okay. Like
Yeah, he plays the role that he's meant to.
Yeah. There's just not a lot there that I feel like they like suck the marrow out of. Like I wish there was more scenes of him and Ali talking to one another and just getting the chalk and cheese relationship between those two.
Yeah, their first interaction was fun. It's like, oh, are you saying that you think I'm a prick? And it's like, yeah.
Or when Ali made him read out in Parliament all of that stuff, all of the crazy stuff about like I was born a girl. Ask my mum, and just Charles Dance is really good at that stuff.
And he dances at the end.
That's probably the height of it. Like that ending is just so awesome. I laughed a lot. It's just excess.
For people that haven't seen the film, he's dressed as a hooker.
Yes. Yeah, with a little like leather skirt or latex skirt going on, and he dances sexily, but he looks awfully upset about it.
Yeah.
Charles Dance, if you know him as an actor, he's a man that has resting stern face.
Yeah.
He looks stern at all times.
I was looking through his filmography to see if I've seen him in anything else, and the only thing was a film that we did. Mm-hmm. Apparently he was in Your Highness.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Would not be surprised. Do you remember what he was?
No, I can't remember.
He was in The Last Action Hero, the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. He's the villain in that. He's very good in that because he's the villain from the action movie, but he's brought into the real world. And
I've heard great things about the film, but I've never actually seen it.
He starts to figure out how he can do real world violence. It's very good. And he's absurd. He has like this bullseye eyeball contact lens. It's very weird. But yeah, Charles Dance, he's good. He was in Game of Thrones. That was a big thing of his more recently, you know, within the last 10 years. What else is there about Ali G? Oh, can we talk about Borat in it? And why even bother?
Yeah, there's a Borat cameo in this film. The theatrical debut of Borat, I guess.
Yeah. Why even bother? It was so nothing. I laughed out loud because you could already tell that they had to like composite him in. Like you could just tell the visuals were off. And I don't even know why, because it wasn't like we even had shots of Ali G and Borat in the same frame facing each other. It was like
it was always shot, reverse shot.
Why did it look like that?
Well, because there's only one Sacha Baron Cohen.
And then I don't know if this is on purpose, but I hope so. I know it probably isn't. But whenever we had the behind of Ali, it was just an actual black man, which I thought was very good.
You know what? I've never noticed that before.
Or someone whose makeup is much darker than whenever it's Sacha Baron Cohen. I laughed at that.
With the
Borat, nothing of worth. It was just, it's Borat. I know who that is.
I've always liked the way he said cocksucker though in the film. It was like cooksucker.
There's something about Borat in the Ali G show and in this where he sounds more just nebulously European than he does in Borat the movie and onwards. Like I feel like in the Borat movie, Sacha just had to really sit down and like narrow down what the accent is for Borat. I think in the show and in this movie, he's just kind of all over the place European. Like sometimes he sounds Russian, sometimes Swedish, sometimes this and this. It just doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I think I can kind of see that as being like part of the appeal where it is, like I said before, it is based around stereotypes and like getting people to, just dismiss what he's like. Because he, claims to be speaking an Eastern European language, but he's just speaking Hebrew most of the time.
Some Yiddish.
Yiddish. So it's like, giving hints that like, oh, look, I'm full of shit. I'm not actually this Eastern European guy. But that also just might be me defending a mistake. I don't know.
I don't have any problems. I think it's just a refinement of the character and the performance, because if you're having to embody these type of characters, especially as we see with his career where he wants to have everyday people believe them, you have to sharpen those tools in your acting repertoire. And I think that's what happened. Because is Sacha Baron Cohen a good actor? Yes. Is he a good actor in this movie?
He does what he needs to, I suppose.
Yeah, he was okay. Like, he's okay, but he gets better. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the big takeaway for me with Ali G in the House is it's a part of the timeline of his career, of his trajectory, of what he's going to do with these characters and these type of performances and so on. It is actually kind of interesting that after Bruno, he went back to these type of movies.
He was like, yeah, after each of these films came out, I don't know about this one specifically, but he was making a big deal about how he's retiring the characters because they're too well known now.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that they have, I don't know about Bruno, but the other ones have come back in some fashion. And in the second Borat film, it actually addresses that, which was a really fun element.
No. I love Bruno. That's my favorite of these movies.
I've only seen it twice, but it's pretty good.
I've only ever seen it once, but it was my favorite. I'm like, oh, that was so good. And I saw it a couple years after it came out. So where are you at personally with Sacha Baron Cohen? Are you still a fan of his? Do you still watch his stuff? Where are you currently with him?
No, I still like his stuff. I've rewatched, I think last year or the year before, I rewatched Who is America, which was a more modern take on the Ali G show. I still very much enjoy the general idea of Borat, the Borat film, Bruno film. I still like this film, maybe not as much anymore, but I still appreciate it a lot. Yeah, I think he's a very funny, very smart guy who has done well with achieving his goals with these characters.
What about I just want to ask, what about the other films that are like this in his catalog? Because you kind of went to, his other mockumentary types. But what do you feel about after he's, become more seasoned, he goes back to this type with The Dictator and Brothers Grimsby. Are you, have you watched those? Are you like those?
I haven't seen Brothers Grimsby. I remember at the time I was keen to check it out and I just never did. I don't even know its reputation, like if it's generally liked or not. But I do want to check that out at some point. Dictator, it was just okay. It felt like, yeah, they're going back to the Ali G Indahouse style, but kind of like what you were saying before about how, this film, he does okay. It's just an okay film. The fact that it's like the beginning of his, movie career with all these makes it, acceptable. Like, yeah, that one's okay. With The Dictator, that one's after Bruno and Borat, so it was kind of like, I still like. I know you hate that film.
I hate that film.
I liked it. I liked it fine. But yeah, it wasn't what I wanted out of him.
I have not seen the Grimsby or Brothers Grimsby. I think that was the most divided. Some people love it. Some people really hate it.
Okay.
All I know is there's an infamous scene with an elephant. That's all I know.
Oh yes, there was I can't remember which talk show it was, but Sacha Baron Cohen went on one of those late night talk shows, and he showed them, a clip from the film, as you do, and it was whatever this infamous scene is, and the talk show host would address the camera saying, like, we cannot show you this, so instead we're going to show you the audience reacting to watching it. And so they had to, just put a camera on the audience and see them all get horrified and piss themselves laughing.
I think that's what is the thing about Sacha Baron Cohen that I find less interesting, is he's like just gross out humor. I like when he's more cartoonish and silly. My favorite gag in any of his work is in Borat, when it's the bit where he's staying at the Jewish people's place, and then at night he sees cockroaches and he thinks it's them, and he starts throwing money at the cockroaches, begging for them to go away and leave him alone. Like, that's one of my favorite things, and that's just like a scripted little moment that they came up with. But that's the kind of cartoonishness I like from him. There was some of that here. I always remember the dream sequence that opens the film.
Where he's in LA.
Yeah, made me think of Falling Down.
Yes.
I always remember the bit where the kid is running towards and everyone's screaming, no, but nothing changes. That's very good. That's like, you always see that in real movies. It's like, oh, come on, really?
The best Ali G film is actually a film that he made for the Ali G show. Have you ever seen Spies?
Oh, yes.
SPYZ?
Yes.
It's on YouTube. It's like 8 minutes 15 seconds long, and it was basically part of a interview where he was like pitching a film that he made, and you only see snippets of it in the actual Ali G show itself, but you can watch the full thing, and it's, just like stylistic suck. He's acting very shittily. You got crappy gun effects where they're literally going like pew pew, fake blood. Half the film is him just having sex with girls who are in the scene and justifying it as like, you as a spy, I'm going to punish you by fucking you. And it even has like this plot point where halfway through the film, his wife tells him like, our son Johnny's going to have the baseball game and you're going to miss. And it's like, I'll be there. And the film ends with him like catching a baseball saying, good job. See, I did make it. And that was it.
I wish you didn't remind me of that, because now I wish that this movie was that, but more and longer. What's so interesting too? I keep thinking about this period of time with these British movies, comedy films, where they've got a big name or an up-and-coming name, and they just kind of don't give you what you want. Johnny English being another one. We've covered Johnny English. We talked about this a bit, where there was like that thing of like, oh, Rowan Atkinson doing a James Bond style thing, or surely that will be excellent. And it's good. Like, most people like, it's all right. Like, it doesn't blow your socks off in the way that you would expect that to be. And I think that's kind of where this sits, because it is before everything pops off with him, but it is also the character that brought about the others.
Yeah. I remember that
okay.
I remember that being a big thing with the tuxedo as well, where it's like, oh, it's Jackie Chan, but it's like special effects stuff was the main.
But don't worry,
gag.
The tuxedo had some amazing gags. One of my favorite gags ever that we've ever seen on the podcast is every time they go to the hospital, there's an old lady who's
Yes,
always
that's
wanting her
right.
meds, and then in one scene she takes over the PA system and she's just asking for random shit.
I forgot about that. That was great.
And I was the one that noticed that when
Yes,
we were doing our
you-
track. I'm like, did you guys notice that? This is a very funny gag.
You enlightened us mid-podcast, yeah.
It's one of the best. It's just one of those. Why is it in that movie? Like, in a movie that doesn't have any gag like that, that's kind of why it's excellent.
Yeah.
Actually, it's like there's no gag like that in the movie. So when it does have that, it stands out as like a crowning jewel achievement of like somebody campaigned for that gag. They hired an actress. They set up cameras. Somebody fucking campaigned for that to be in there, and I'm glad somebody did. Trying to think. Anything else you want to talk about with Ali G in the house?
Ali G in the house. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed all of his interactions with the government people. Just seeing how they gravitated towards him, even when he had his like low point of being kicked out. He still got like, the 2 lines of all the politicians like wishing him well, speaking in his style, booyakasha and all that kind of stuff. There is gold in this film, but unfortunately it doesn't manage to stay gold the entire way through. It just comes and goes a little bit. I still like it, but yeah, it isn't the best.
I think it needs a better editor. I think that's it. I think some of it is just in editing. This would work a bit better. I like it, but I don't love it. It's definitely. I know I've been harsh on the movie. It has improved on this rewatch for me. I appreciate it more than I like it. I think that's where I kind of come at it from that point of view of just like, oh, interesting. Because I have not kept up with Sacha Baron Cohen's work, honestly. After The Dictator, I was done. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I like seeing him in other projects because I think he's a fantastic actor. I think he's a very good actor. I find him also great in interviews as himself. I like just him talking sincerely about his process and his points of view on things. I think he's very good at that as well. He's very articulate. I find him a compelling figure, but I have not kept up with him because what he is interested in does not interest me. And then, he's doing Borat again and this, and I hear it's good, and I'm just like, I'm okay. Maybe one day I'll watch them, but I'm okay for now. I've had my fill of Sasha's style in that particular way.
I like Borat too, but what you were saying there about him in interviews, like him in interviews talking about the documentary type films, him talking about Borat 2 and all these little things that he had to do, how he had to find Maria Bakalova from all of these people auditioning, how she auditioned, and like all of the, basically like finding the perfect female counterpart to him was all really great. And all of like the little controversies that he had to be involved in, like the real life dangers that he was in making that film. There's a part in that film where he's staying with these two, like QAnon Trump supporters, and like he's legitimately staying with them for a couple of days, and he had to talk about the struggle of not only filming the film and, staying in character the whole time. Like he's like editing the film in his bedroom or something like that, or writing a script, and they're coming in to check on him, and he has to be like, "Oh, don't come in yet," and so he can like quickly get dressed, stuff like that. It's really funny.
That's so good.
I reckon you would like Who is America.
I probably would. Sasha, as always, is a controversial figure. I don't think he likes it that way. I mean, he's divorced from Isla Fisher. There's a lot of messy details that obviously have come out from that. Israel, all of that stuff's happening, and well, him being a Jewish man, he has a lot of opinions on it that obviously ruffle a lot of people's feathers. I think that's a part of what he likes. I just want to see him do more just good, like solid acting. I want to see him do more musical stuff. He was my favorite one, but probably my favorite part of the Sweeney Todd musical was when he showed up. And he was just genuinely a good singer, doing this absurd accent on top of it, but also nailing it, and then being this sleazy motherfucker who can go toe-to-toe with some of the greats. I just thought he was great in that. I never watched the Les Mis musical because Les Mis is not my musical and also look boring as fuck. And people don't... Do people like that movie?
Generally, not really, I don't think.
Okay.
Especially if they've seen the actual play.
Okay.
I did want to bring up the fact that he's the only one in the film doing a French accent is really fun. And his song is pretty catchy.
Good. That is Ali G Indahouse. My favorite bit of the movie, I did have a favorite. I don't know if you have a favorite or standout moment, was when Ali's having sex upstairs and all of the politicians and diplomats and their spouses are downstairs thinking that it's the prime minister fucking really hard, and then the prime minister comes out and
with the president of Chad, I think it was.
Yeah,
and it's just euphemism.
It's very Austin Powers.
Yeah,
it's very Austin Powers.
That was fun.
That actor who played was it the president of Chad?
I believe so.
That's Rudolph, I want to say Walker. He's one of those great British comic character actors. If you know your TV history, he's been in some seminal work. He's actually in one of my favorite Rowan Atkinson projects, The Thin Blue Line, where Rowan Atkinson plays...
police one,
There's
right?
the police one. And he plays like the old... the president of Chad, Rudolph Walker, he plays the old fuddy-duddy cop that just probably should retire by now, and he's got some great one-liners. But he was in a show back in the day called Love Thy Neighbor, which no longer airs because it's considered incredibly racist. But it's one of those shows where the debate is, was it racist or was it not? Because
what
the
was
whole
it called again, sorry?
Love Thy Neighbor.
Love Thy Neighbor.
Where the premise of it was the black family moves next door, and this white family, or husband and wife, are racists, and they don't know how to deal with their their 1960s, this was in the 60s, British life being intruded upon by immigrants. And it's about them both clashing and both coming into understanding of one another, and obviously getting into sitcom hijinks, like the classic, the Rudolph Walker character, he obviously plays into racial stereotypes to make the white guy look like a dumbass, to make him do stupid things.
Mhm.
Like, we're going to do a limbo competition because obviously my country, we do limbo. So you do. And then obviously he's going to egg on the British white neighbor to be like, I know what that is. I'm really good at it. And it's like, nope. But, I just wanted to mention him because he's just one of the many people in this movie that is of that caliber of like, oh, this is someone of significant note if you know your British comedy scene. And so I thought it was, and he was probably one of the best used in the movie. He had many jokes. He came back.
Yeah, in the UN scene.
And he got very flirty and kissy. It was very, very good. I enjoyed that. What about you? Were there any highlights for you on this watch?
Like I said, a lot of the stuff with other politicians, just seeing, them. I guess it's the appeal of Ali G, seeing them react to this absurd person, even if it was scripted, was enjoyable. Yeah, all of his scenes that you just mentioned were great. There were just like little stray lines here and there. Like I already mentioned, the Martin Freeman, LAPD thing really got me. And when the film actually ended, it's like the real end, and they crossed out real and wrote bell, the bell end. It was just like a dumb little gag that made me laugh.
Yeah, they had several of those that was just, you can't help but roll your eyes.
I guess the only other thing to mention, which we didn't watch it yet, but the audio commentary.
Man.
You mentioned it last episode.
If there's anything to take away from Ali G Indahouse, it's the audio commentary track, because that gives you exactly what you want.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ali G, and he's joined by his homeboy Ricky.
Yep.
And they're giving, and it's them as the characters giving their commentary on the movie, and it's just an excuse for them to riff and say like crazy nonsense. And they do occasionally give you behind the scenes details on movie magic, but then they just say something gross. And
yeah, I've only listened to it once, but I remember really liking it. Like I remember later in the film, there's a part where Ricky C and the other one Dave, they have gay sex, and I remember in the commentary, like Ali was making fun of him for that, so little digs at each other.
I remember during the scene in which the posh woman that works with the Deputy Prime Minister comes over to seduce Ali G, and it's like a pretty nippy out. And it's just this whole back and forth on the commentary track about like, were nipples really hard or what was going on there? And it's just this whole thing. And them ogling her and being like, oh man, look how hot she is. Yeah. Bartek brought over the DVD. I'm sure I'll give that a listen during the week. The commentary track is one of my favorite things about the movie, and isn't that just a special thing on its own?
Yeah, I need to re-listen
nowadays. We don't get these nowadays with the way that physical media works. They don't do commentary tracks often unless it's for like specific distributors like your Criterion or so on, or Vinegar Syndrome. But like
prestigious audio commentaries.
Yeah. Like I bet you. I actually don't know. Is Borat 2 something you can even buy on DVD?
That's a good question.
Is there a commentary on it? Is there anything?
I rewatched it like 2 years ago, and it was still on Amazon. So it might be one of those things that just always stays on there. I don't know if it had a physical release
until they erase it for tax purposes, as is often the case with these streaming sites.
I know Who Is America changed to some other one, which was weird because it was like Amazon Original or something.
Yeah, and
now it's on like Paramount or something.
So I think we both recommend this, but with a little bit of a like, it's not perfect. It's definitely a little less than, but it's still got some fun aspects to it.
Yeah, hits and misses, but the hits are nice and the misses aren't offensive.
I like Charles Dance saying very sternly, "Why is there a half-naked man like chained to being jerked off by a blind council worker?" And then the other person just saying, "Oh, well, that's just a local fool."
Yeah, the local idiot or something.
Local idiot, yeah.
That council worker's one line was funny.
Yes, it was.
This one's very dirty.
Oh, God. So, Bartek, it is your time now.
Oh, yeah,
to tell us what movie you will be recommending for us to watch and then discuss.
Yes. Let's follow up a silly film with another, I'm sure, very wacky, silly film.
Oh, okay.
I'm joking. So when you said that this is going to be the year of the old cinema at the end of last year, one of my first thoughts was like, oh, good. That gives me an excuse to check out another Akira Kurosawa film.
Oh, good.
Because I've only seen Rashomon. I've only seen it twice. So let's check out a second film, why don't we?
Yeah.
And I was looking through his filmography. There are only a couple that like stuck out to me in terms of like, oh, I've heard of these ones before. You know, there's Seven Samurai, there's Ran, and there was one other one. And I was like, let's go with that one. So I'm picking and this is on archive.org, so you can find it, the 1961 film Yojimbo.
Ah, Yojimbo.
Have you seen that one?
I haven't seen too many of his films. I've seen a handful. I don't think I've seen Yojimbo.
Yeah, I knew you'd seen Ran.
Yeah, I've seen Ran. I've seen Rashomon, and I want to say
Seven Samurai.
I want to say I've watched Seven Samurai, or what's the other one? Iron Fortress. Yes, but Yojimbo will be what we're talking about next time on the podcast. So everyone, make sure to give that a watch for yourself. A nice, quick movie. Just real short time for us at the cinema from Bartek.
Is it a long film?
Usually his films are long.
110 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it's all right then.
Okay.
Usually his films are very long, and I think
wasn't Rashomon like surprisingly short?
Yeah, I think that was one of his shorter films. But actually, all right. I'm used to his film. Like I think Seven Samurai is like 3.5 hours long. It's very long. Ran is like very long as well because that's adapting Shakespeare. So, all right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is what you get on this podcast. We go from the wacky world of British politics to refined Japanese cinema. That's where we go.
What if Yojimbo ends up being like the 1960s Japan equivalent of Ali G and South Central?
Wow. Could you please not give away ideas to Sacha Baron Cohen? Because he could finally do his next character, which is Asian. He's done black guy kinda. He done Jewish man who's also not. He's done gay man. He's done whatever the dictator was. I guess.
Does Borat count if he's Eurasian?
Yeah, I don't think so.
He hasn't done Asian in Who Is America?
No, Chris Lilly is really beating him to the punch.
Chris Lilly has done it. He's done an Asian mum, yes.
Yes. Oh, not just an Asian mum.
Oh, yeah,
Asian
of course,
man.
the Asian man in the first one.
Yeah, and We Can Be Heroes.
Yes, Ricky Wong.
Where he was in the musical, where he was doing indigenous people, which was
Didgeridoo.
Chris Lilly is another interesting figure, but he doesn't make movies. He only makes TV shows. Wow. Okay. So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. You can find us on Facebook and Twitter under Spit and Polish Presents, of course. What else would you think? What you think would be under Yum Yum Podcast? That's absurd. That's a completely different podcast hosted by one different person. That's right. One of us hosts. It's Bartek. He hosts that podcast.
I've been on it.
If you type in Yum Yum Podcast and Bartek, you will find episodes.
There are episodes that, have Feet Bartek in the title.
Bartek's feet are in there. You heard it. The thumbnails have his hairy feet.
Feet Bartek.
I take great amount of pride to just roll the dice and say that you have hairy feet. Bartek's a hairy man. I just assume you have hairy feet. I don't.
I've got some in the equivalent of the bottom finger part on the.
So
toes.
yes, hairy then. Yeah. Yep. Bartek's got. But do you actually have it on the feet or just the toes?
Do you want me to take off?
No. I just want you to remember it's your body.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, the back part of the palm equivalent's kind of bare, but there is hair all throughout, kind of.
Thank you. The back part of the palm equivalent.
What do you call the top part of the foot?
Sorry, I just like you calling the part on your head the back part of your palm. That's getting me first off.
The back side of the palm.
The back side of the palm, the top of your head.
Does the hand one have an equivalent name?
You know what's great? You're asking this and so asking it in the way that you've got about this. My brain is injecting what the actual terms are. Everyone, you can email us with the answers at spitandpolished yumyumpodcast@gmail.com or yumyumpodcast@gmail.com. Might as well give them a little email about feet.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of the same thing. I logged into our YouTube channel the other day to, do the episode that we'd uploaded, stuff, thumbnail, description, tags, and all that. And I had a notification that someone liked a comment that the Spit and Polish channel made, and it was for some Babylon 5 video.
Yeah, that was me.
Where I'm like, oh, Ryan must have accidentally made a comment using the Spit and Polish thing. And I scrolled through the comments, and not only was there a comment from Yum Yum, there was also a comment from your personal YouTube channel.
Yep.
And obviously Spit and Polish. So Ryan made 3 comments with 3 different accounts on this one video.
Because I was using my phone, and then I was like, oh no, I'm on the wrong one. And then I was like, oh no, I'm on the wrong one again.
It's happened a couple of times in the past.
And you know what? And I don't take it back. All of those comments are valid. You should like them all.
You should have them all argue with each other.
I will. Okay. I'll do, what's that term called? Sock puppet?
Oh yeah, that is the term. Yeah, sock puppeting.
I'm not internet savvy, but...
You got the right term.
Enough's enough, Bartek.
So what's the back of the foot and the hand?
Yeah, what's that called, guys? Email us at spitandpolish@gmail.com or with film recommendations, but we want both.
Yeah. You know what? Just comment on that Babylon 5 video.
Yeah, whichever one it was.
All 3 of the accounts will respond to you.
Yeah, actually a 4th one will emerge, my secret 4th one, where it's called Bartek Ender, where Bartek ends the conversation. Because you usually like to end our podcasts.
Oh yeah, have the last word in.
Yeah.
I remember in the old days, whenever we'd have our friend Luke on, he would also have that, so there was a bit of a back and forth, ooh, no, I'm having the last word.
And then I would decide in the edit who got the last word, so really, I have the last word every time.
Well, Ryan, this will be the last, I promise you, this sentence that I'm saying right now is the last thing I'll say. Give us the last line.
That's it. The Bartek's over. He's done it. His last line is, give me the last line, and now he's just panting at me, being like, please let me speak.
Wait. That's not what I was doing. Sorry, I broke my promise.
Yes! I knew it!
You confused me.
I knew it! That's how I get you. I have to bombard you with confusion, and then you break, because you can't keep it. You break. I love it, though. I love when that happens. Our absurdity gets one another. And that's the part of why we've been podcasting for nearly 10 years, and it's what will keep us going for another 10 years. Bartek did some thumbs up. I also do Walker Smith GIF. That's a thumbs up GIF. The B5 fans out there.